What's up, YouTube? Mike is back again, and as you can tell by the video title, this will be my final video on R&R transportation. I have been delaying this video for a long time, not for any specific reason or anything like that. Just been busy working. Working a lot, like with my new company who I'm with. I left R&R in January of this year, so I think it was like middle of January, something like that, 14th, 15th, whatever it was. And I've been putting off this video to, making the video, updating people, who would still ask me, still to this day recently, that are trying to join the company. And I'm like, I gotta make a video soon. So finally figured, hey, before I get loaded here at U.S. Cold Storage in Denton, Texas, I would try to make a video. So this isn't gonna be a bashing video by any means. I don't have anything bad to say about R&R transportation. I think the people there were really, really good for the most part. My old driver manager, Frank, he was awesome. He was probably the best, for that company, if you want to say. Always communicated well. Frank Gallies, if you are watching this, you are the man, dude. You were very, very good part in for me getting the good loads that I did for the time being. But let's see. So what led to my departure is overall with the equipment. Now, if you guys noticed, and some of my subscribers and viewers were commenting, they noticed I was in a lot of different trucks, and I was. It was getting to be ridiculous with the equipment, and it wasn't so much the truck itself, it was just the engine, the trucks that I was in. It was the Peterbilt 579s, and I was issued like 3 of them inside of a year, and they all had the PACCAR motors, and sad to say, they just weren't worthwhile to be running. All of them had like over 375,000 miles on them, and it was just really, really not efficient and profitable for me to even stay there. At the time, I was doing like 2-3 months out on the road straight, running nonstop, but most of that time then became breakdown time, so I think R&R is a good company to work with, as long as you can get, as long as you can get into another truck other than the Kenworths or Peterbilts that they have, because they're only PACCAR motors, They don't run anything else other than the PACCAR motors and the Kenworth and Peterbilts. And it really, really just, it can kill you, your take-home pay is just like nothing, when you're breaking down left and right, hotels, Airbnbs like I was in, and it was just, it just wasn't really worthwhile and accommodating to me at all anymore, So, if you do go over with R&R, definitely try to request, I would say an International, or I would try to get into one of their Mack Anthems. And I've never really been in any of those trucks at all, but excuse me, at least I know that they don't really have the engine issues like the PACCARs did. And yeah, I've talked to several drivers over there back, last year when I was working there and everything, and they said they didn't have any issues with them. So the problem with me, though, is that, at the time I had my fiance and my dog on the road with me, so I needed the biggest truck that they were going to have in their fleet, and that was the Peterbilt 579s. So if I wanted the bigger truck, then I would have to deal with the PACCAR motors, but then the PACCAR motors were always breaking down. And then keep in mind, too, because I had my fiance and dog on the road with me, I was the one that was responsible for paying for all the lodging and everything for while the truck was in the shop. So, because they were on the road with me, and that's fine. That's their company policy, whatever it is, But at the same time, you got to look at the cost of that. I mean, it was like several weeks last year that I was actually fully broken down for, that I was just, not driving at all. And then the breakdown pay, yeah, I would get it and everything, but I'm still paying out for the Airbnb, the hotel, the Uber, traveling back and forth most of the time. Sometimes they would pay for it, but 8 times out of 10, I would be the one that paid for it out of pocket because I had them on the road with me. That was just their company policy. So it was like, all right, you guys don't have the quality equipment for me to run, for me to be out here 2 or 3 months at a time, and then I said, I gotta go, I strictly have to go for the livelihood of me, my career, my family, income, my sanity too. I mean, every everyone at R&R was cool. Never really had an issue with anybody, office staff, anything like that. That's why I said this isn't a bashing video at all. This is me just being fully transparent into why I left in a good, respectful manner, and just for some things to look out for, I was thinking of deleting the YouTube channel, but then I'm like, well, no. I felt like it was appropriate to make this video, because with making this video, then everybody can see how the process went, at least at the time that I did it, and overall why I'm leaving and everything. And I noticed at the time too, I was like one of the only people on YouTube that was making videos about that company. So I'm like, well, hey, if they want to go and find out about R&R, well, hey, there you go. Now granted, I'm not advocating for people to go to them or anything like that. I'm not telling people not to. What I'm saying is that if you are going to go to R&R, definitely try to get into one of the Macs, one of the Internationals, or even a Volvo, even if they're still doing Volvos, and that's because you're not running necessarily that PACCAR motor, to my knowledge. So, just kind of keep that in mind. Now current year, I guess I should say, because this is the first of content I've put out at all. I have left, and I felt like I struck a gold mine with the current company I'm with, which is B&R Cattle and Trucking, LLC, out of Rosemont, Minnesota. Most of the reason why I had left and came to B&R was because really the pay. Well, not even so much the pay. I mean, yeah, I did get a pay raise, if you want to say, because of the way that it pays out, but more or less for the equipment and everything. Like right now, I'm seated in a 2024 Kenworth T680 with the Cummins CXS 15 engine, so the Cummins alone was going to get me brought over here, regardless. The ownership and everything is great. The Stewart family, have nothing but great things to say about them. Let's see, what else? It's a much smaller fleet too. Keep in mind, R&R, I think at the time that I left, might have been around 260, 270 trucks, including their day cabs. And I felt like it was time for me to go down a notch or two with a smaller size carrier. So you figure going to a smaller size carrier and everything, I feel like I could develop more of a, good working relationship with owners, with, the owners and everything, and with dispatch and all, and, just feel like it's a much better fit, And another thing with the pay and everything too, is that B&R Cattle pays, off the hub miles. So in comparison, for some context for you, let's just compare B&R and R&R, if you want to say. So in R&R Transportation, they were like, okay, for the experience that I have not having my hazmat, they were like, okay, 60 cents a mile gross, is what I was doing. 10 cent per mile per DM. So realistically 50 cents on the books and then 10 cent per mile per DM. But now the only way you would get paid out essentially is if you completed a run from their work week, if you want to say, their pay period. So it would be like, for an example, all right, yeah, we're going to give you a load. You know, you got two loads this week, let's just say, for an example. One load I could take from, I don't know, let's just say like Denver, Colorado, Henderson, Colorado, something like that. We're going to take that out to California. Okay, you pick up that load. That load delivers, let's just say, on like picks up on a Monday, delivers on a Wednesday. Now, the next load you take is going to be coming out of Brawley, California, and we're going to go all the way to the Bronx in New York City, which I loved. That's the one thing I miss about R&R is with their New York runs, but, you know, that was when I had the equipment to run them, too, and the PACCAR motor wasn't breaking down. So now, back to what I was saying. So then you got the load from Brawley that picks up, that delivers into the Bronx. Now, granted, that's not until after the pay period ends. So now, excuse me, you got a trip over 3,000 miles, whatever it is. You're not going to get paid for any of that until the final load is delivered and all the bills are transflowed and processed through before that pay period cutoff. So now you're looking at like, oh, well, okay, this is going to pay the next week. Now, for an example, I'm only stuck with, let's just say, that Colorado run. So it's not paid, you know, so you're paid out per loads that you deliver. Now with B&R cattle, it is way, way better because they do per diem. So I'm not necessarily paying attention to how many loads I can pick up and fully deliver in full completion in its entirety before the end of the pay period. Now I can go ahead, for an example, get put on that New York or California to New York run, only get to California by the end of the pay period. Let's just say California to, I don't know, let's just say Minnesota or whatever it is. Okay, now great, you're getting paid for all those miles that you ran up until that pay period cutoff. They track the odometer and then boom, that's cut off. So then it's like, all right, well good, I got a chunk of miles from this and then we'll do the rest, for an example, I don't know, Minnesota to New York, or, you know, you wouldn't do that route, but just saying as an example. Then the rest of those miles after the pay period cutoff then get paid for the next week, you know, after you complete the load. And then you would get paid out the extra drops, the whatever it is, if it's more than one, you know. So it just really, really made a difference. And the other thing that is great about them too is that they will go ahead and they will max out the per diem when it comes per the legal amount through the government, you know. So let's just do some easy math. You know, let's just say you have a driver, for an example, who makes like 58 cents per mile. Okay. Now, 58 cents per mile is all miles, you know, at least for a company driver, you know, and that's loaded in deadhead and everything. But now when that pays out, you're going to notice you get paid 37 cents on the books and then 21 cent per mile per diem. So that's where you get a raise to where, for an example, that driver now is like, wow, okay, so 21 cents per mile of this load is not tax that's being fully paid out to me. And that's where it makes a huge, huge difference. And that's where like transparency comes into it, how honest they are with the people, and, you know, just really a different culture, if you want to say, you know, not micromanaged and everything. Not that I was at R&R by any means, but, you know, with B&R cattle, it's, you know, it's a lot better, in my opinion. I left for a reason, you know, to better myself in my career and my family, if you want to say too. And yeah, really make a positive difference in my life. And I'm still with a lower 48 carrier, you know, who primarily focuses on like West Coast and South and East Coast. I mean, I'm in the process of legally moving back to Philadelphia, you know, for just tax and business reasons, but still living life on the road. You know, so I can easily get home, you know. I just did a long stay from like February until like early July, like right before the 4th of July, of not going home. and I consistently ran. You know, took some 34s here and there, but consistently ran and made great money doing it, you know? So it was great to stay loaded and, you know, knock on dashboard. No issues with the truck, the engine, anything like that. The reefers are really, really good condition as well, too. The equipment is well maintained, and in return, I keep it looking as nice as it can be, too. So, you know, it really does make a difference if you want to. All right, folks, so here you go. This is the 2024 Kenworth T680 Next Gen, as I should add. I did chrome polish these wheels myself. That's nowhere near a professional, you know, show finish polish, but for an everyday working truck, I'm happy with it. Brand new 2026 utility 3000R reefer with a brand new 2025 Thermo King President S600 reefer, as you can see. 2025, yeah. So this is by far the nicest, you know, truck trailer combo I've ever been issued. So I absolutely love it. I'm here in Denton, Texas, getting unloaded, or loaded, I should say, heading back up to Minnesota. And just like with R&R, I maintain the truck and trailers as best as I can. And, you know, this one being brand new was really, really easy to do. So, you know, the same operation, kind of like what I was doing, you know, truck and tandem axle reefers. There you go. Nice and cold in there. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. So just to end, you know, everything about the video and all, just wanted to give you guys an update where I've been, what's life is like been for me since I left R&R. It's been good. Like I said, no no hard feelings towards them at all. Actually, part of the R&R family's friends with the family at B&R Cattle too, so they kind of, it's another Minnesota reefer company, you know. So all is well, no hate, no grudge, no bad feelings on either end. You know, I will say with R&R, they did pay me out vacation time, all that I accumulated on my last settlement. I honestly didn't expect them to do that, but I was very grateful that they did. So, like I said, it was not an office personnel thing. It was strictly an equipment thing. And when B&R Cattle and Trucking gave me pretty much a brand new truck and a brand new trailer, you know, and a better pay package, hey, I was all for it. Now, I represent them well. So, yeah. All right, guys. It's been nice talking to you. It's been a fun ride with the channel. Any questions or comments, just leave down below. And, yeah, enjoy your afternoon. Have a good day. Bye.